There is one place in the universe where even NASA is too afraid to go. They've sent car-sized rovers to Mars, sent probes billions of miles away to the edge of the solar system and beyond, and they even use telescopes to see the beginning of the universe. All extremely difficult and treacherous missions to complete, but there is one place that NASA has deemed nearly impossible to visit, and it's far closer to us than you think. Mercury, the closest planet to our sun, is one of the most hostile places in our entire solar system, mainly for that reason. It's really close to our sun. Its surface temperature can reach upwards of 430 degrees Celsius or 806 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's very difficult to send a probe there that can withstand those temperatures for an extended period of time. But that's not even the main reason why NASA has made so few attempts to observe the planet up close. It's not because it's uninteresting, it's quite the opposite. Shocking discoveries have been made about the planet that are unique to Mercury and exist nowhere else in the solar system. The main reason why we haven't sent more probes to Mercury isn't because of the sun's extreme temperature, it's because of the sun itself, more specifically, its gravity. In the 1970s, NASA sent the Mariner 10 mission to do a flyby of both Venus and Mercury. It was launched in 1973 and took over 2 years to complete its mission of making 3 passes by the planet. The problem with that initial mission was that the probe was only about to map about 45% of the planet due to the extreme trajectory it was required to take to avoid getting pulled into the sun. While NASA didn't get everything that they wanted, they still deemed the mission a success, and for a while, scientists and researchers thought that it was impossible to send a probe to actually orbit Mercury itself. That was until 1985, when an orbital mechanics expert named Chen-Wan Yen figured out a way to get a probe into Mercury's orbit, but the pathway that it would need to take would be the really long way around. His proposed flight path would take the probe over twice as long to reach Mercury. It would need to orbit the Sun 15 times, fly by Venus twice, and Mercury 3 times before it was finally able to slow down enough to get caught in Mercury's gravity. Instead of needing a huge amount of fuel to slow the probe down, which was the problem with the Mariner 10, Chen-Wan Yen came up with a genius idea of using its solar panels like a sail, catching the solar winds coming off of the sun, which over its billions of mile journey would eventually slow it down enough. So in 2004, NASA finally launched the Messenger probe using Chen-Wan Yen's flight path. It took the Messenger probe nearly 4 years just to reach the planet for the first flyby. The probe began to scan Mercury's topography, which NASA hoped the mission would also help us learn more about the planet's magnetic field, its core, and potential volcanic activity. After 3 successful flybys of Mercury 7 years after its initial launch, in 2011, the Messenger probe finally entered Mercury's orbit. NASA was only planning on the mission from this point to last about a year before they thought that the probe would eventually fall out of orbit and crash into Mercury itself, or just melt due to the heat exposure. But to the surprise of everyone, the Messenger spacecraft continued its orbit around Mercury for 4 whole years. NASA initially hoped that the probe would take around 1,000 photos of the planet's surface, but it ended up taking over 200,000 photos of the planet. Thanks to this mission, we have the entire planet fully mapped with remarkable detail. Because of this, NASA was able to make the shocking discovery that Mercury has water on it. Despite its intense heat, frozen water exists in the planet's craters that are in constant shade. NASA also discovered that Mercury was once a volcanically active body, and the evidence of flowing lava and lava beds could clearly be seen. Hollows were also found on the surface, something that is quite unique to Mercury. These rimless holes aren't caused by falling meteors to the planet, but rather intense radiation from the sun. And thanks to the Messenger mission, we know so much about this barren, fiery planet closest to our sun and have stunning images like this. A mission we thought to be impossible for so long turned out to be an incredible and unexpected success. A triumph of human ingenuity and perseverance, teaching us that if we can make it to the hardest place to reach in the solar system, we can make it anywhere.